Well, hello everyone, I'm Peaches from Lovers for Healthy Life, and I'd like to welcome you to my channel. Now this year, we've been putting down a lot of wood chips. Didn't have to buy any soil this year, so I'm really happy about that. What I've done this year is start a lot of my seedlings indoors and then transplant them outdoors into the garden. So come along with me and let's have some fun. Well, hello guys. I am going to give you a brief tour of what I've been working on in my garden. This year I wanted to give my garden a more English country feel to it by adding more seeding and color to my garden. And then right here on the side of my garden, I've added some begonias here. I really love begonias because they can withstand a little drought and still look beautiful. These are red and white begonias, and this is a self-watering container I've had for several years, and so I really don't have to worry about this. I just have to come fill it up like once a week or so, depending on how hot it is. And in this self-watering container, I have white and pink begonias, and then I have these flowers, and I'll put a link to the flower because I forgot the name of them, but I planted these a long time ago, and they blow everywhere. To me, they look like a weed, but they do have pretty flowers. So I'm not sure if I'll let these stay in here or not, but I'm not so happy. I've also been adding hydrangeas throughout my garden, and my grapevines that are growing in their wine barrels are doing really well. They're starting to grow alongside the fence. This is my garden fence. So I'm going to bring you in a little closer and show you exactly what's growing here in my garden. And yeah, these are the flowers that I just really didn't like, but they do get pretty blooms. There's some white blooms there and red blooms. I'm not sure what the exact name is, but I'll put a link to the name of these flowers. But like I said, they're not my favorite, but these would look good, I guess, in a huge garden, probably in my secret garden. I may be planting some of these like as a border on the back border of my garden. And my planters are doing pretty good. I added some sedum tile to some of the blank spaces in the planter. And then I added some periwinkle that acts as a spiller to my planter, kind of spills over the side a little bit. And this planter is doing really good. And this verbena flower is starting to spread out. And I added more periwinkle to this one as well. And then I added the sedum tile back there in the back. And the oriental lilies have already bloomed, so that's why I like to plant annuals as well as perennials, because the perennials, they go first. Then over here in this area over here where I had the stones, this is oregano, and it is so huge. I've already cut it back, but it's just growing wild. I planted some eggplants, pepper plants, and this is some lemon balm right over here, and more pepper and eggplants growing over here. And over in this planter is a mixture of strawberries and some flowers. I planted these flowers right here by seed, and I'll put a link up to the name because I forgot the name of these flowers. And then there's some more of those perennial flowers that I didn't like growing up here, but the strawberries are starting to bloom. And in this bed, last year I planted some Icicle Pansies, and these are like deep purple, almost even black with yellow in the middle, and they're still blooming, so they're doing really well. I have some scarlet kale right there and more red sorrel in the middle, and then this lemon balm is just gigantic. It's doing really well. I've already cut it back, but we're really enjoying the lemon balm. I think this is more of the scarlet kale. Either red Russian, I get those two confused. Red Russian or scarlet kale. I have them both in my garden. Over here is all my elephant garlic, and it is doing really well. Elephant garlic is getting big, so I'll be harvesting that pretty soon. And over in this bed, I have some more peppers and tomatoes growing up. And then I have some cilantro and some lettuce growing to seed. And I wanted to go ahead and see if I can go ahead and harvest the seeds from the lettuce. I think that is deer tongue lettuce right there. Then I have some cabbage from last year. I mean, not cabbage. Then I have some Georgia collards from last year in this bed. And then I planted bush beans over on this end. one lonely little garlic that I decided to let flower because I thought that was really pretty. And Roma bush beans that I planted over here, and more Roma bush beans that are almost ready to be harvested, and some more shallots. And these are what the Roma bush beans look like. I love these. Are my absolutely favorite beans to grow. They don't get real stringy or anything like that, and they taste really, really delicious. And then I cut them like the Italian cut because they're like a flat bean. And I had a couple of garden setbacks because this was my third planting of the Roma bush beans in this bed. And I believe I must got a hold of some bad seeds, or maybe I just did something wrong, but now they're coming up. I ordered some more Roma bush beans, and these are doing just fine. So I'm really happy because I wanted to do a lot of canning of my green beans this year. Can some of them and also freeze some. So I have like 3 different beds with my Roma bush beans growing. In this same bed I have cucumber munchers that I'm going to use probably for maybe pickling. But anyways, these are growing up this trellis and they're doing really well. So I've got flowers growing on these. I've even spotted a few inside of there. And then this is another zucchini, and you can see the large zucchini already growing. And over in this bed is my Lola Rosa lettuce, and then I have some giant leaf basil that is growing in this bed, and then my carrots alongside here. But this Lola Rosa lettuce is really delicious, and I'm going to be planting a lot more of this in succession planting. And my radishes are doing well. I've already harvested a few radishes, but this is the breakfast radish, so these are doing really well. And over here by the lettuce, I have my straight 8 cucumbers growing up this trellis. And then over here is some red sorrel that is really huge, and I do harvest this, but this plant was just blown over here. And there's some tiny straight 8 cucumbers growing right there, so they're coming along. And in this bed right here, I have a giant sunflower that I actually did not plant. It grew there from last year. Then I have a few pepper plants and some basil growing over here, and tomatoes growing right there in the middle, and eggplants. I think I already see some eggplants that are starting to grow right over there, and more eggplants, some lemon balm over here, and more pepper plants, and also some marigolds that are already starting to seed. I think the marigolds are so pretty. I really love marigold flowers. They're just really, really pretty. And this is my shallots that are ready to be picked, and we've been actually eating these. They're really, really delicious. Then last year I planted these asparagus, and this is the 2nd year, so I'm probably going to see how they do for next year. This is some collard vates, and we've been eating this. It's so delicious. We really enjoy the collard vates. And I recently planted some okra over here. So over here is my raised bed greenhouse, and I've been adding more flowers and have a few projects that I'm working on as well. Putting up that arbor for my entryway to my vegetable garden. This is beets that's growing, more Swiss chard, and then I have some dinosaur kale right there, and then also some giant Swiss chard right over there. And my grapes, these grapes are doing really well. And this is just my sitting area that I'm adding more flowers to. And these are my tomatoes, and they seem to be doing pretty good. And what I've done is growing them in like a U shape, and that way I can walk right in. And I've been cutting off the leaves at the bottom to try to deter diseases. And I have giant leaf basil growing at the bottom of some of these tomato plants. And if you notice, I have cardboard throughout my garden that I've laid down, and then I'm going to put wood chips right on top. And this is one of my newest beds that I've put together. This is galvanized steel, and it is 12 inches tall, and it is a 4x8 bed. And I'm going to be growing my sweet potatoes. I have some pumpkin sweet potatoes that are growing indoors, and I'm going to be transplanting those outside, and also growing some more ground cherries in here. And my peppers and tomatoes in this raised bed is doing really well. They're growing in 100% wood chips, and these peppers and tomatoes are doing the best throughout my garden. It looks like they're really liking growing in the wood chips. So I see tiny little peppers they're growing, so we should have peppers soon. Over in this bed I have crookneck squash. If you look down here, you'll see my plants are loaded with the crookneck squash. And these are only 2 plants, and they're doing really well. I have a couple of them that I put some protective sleeves down there so that they wouldn't actually touch the ground, but they're doing pretty good. And over in this same bed with the crookneck squash, I'm growing tender grass cucumbers, and they're growing up this trellis, so they're doing really well. And we've already harvested a few of these cucumbers. Now I wanted to show you my banana tree. This is the one that came up from last year, and it had 2 banana suckers on them. And I saw a video from Argus Way. I think that's how you say it. Thank you so much, Argus Way, his channel. And he showed me how to actually cut the suckers off. So here's one of the suckers here. That's the baby sucker. And let me show you where the other sucker is. The other sucker is growing nicely right here in this planter. So it's doing really well, and I was so happy that I was able to get 3 banana trees just off the one tree. And my fig trees, I'm growing calendula at the bottom of my fig trees. And then I noticed on just about all my fig trees, for the first time, I have figs. And I'm really excited. This is some peppermint right here that's come back from last year. But I'm really excited about the figs that I see peeking through my fig tree. And in this bed I have strawberries growing, and if you look down on here, you'll see some strawberries that are growing in this bed, and these are supposed to be really nice sized strawberries. And I'm going to be adding more strawberry plants over here. Then I have blueberry bush that's growing here. I have one there, one right over there, and one over here. So this is going to be more like my fruits bed of blueberries and strawberries.